And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the NA Challenger Series number 1 semifinals, second game series of the night. We are looking at a 1-0 lead for the Disney Stars over top of LoLPro, and they're looking to seal the deal with a 2-0 sweep to face off against the finals tomorrow against LMQ. I'm Sean, forecourt Jester Delaney. With me tonight, Alex, Melphus X Manley. We're here with Chaos TV to bring you this exciting action, all courtesy of our awesome producer, Rube.
Yes, he is single-handedly and individually responsible for everything you're going to see here tonight. So if you enjoy it, it's all him. If you don't enjoy it, I will have his address available for anyone who wants to go pay him a visit.
Wow! Betrayed.
All right, so LoPro, going to start with the W first. Going to have that stun charged up. We've seen a lot of Annies, particularly against matchups like against Leona or Thresh, where they actually just take the Q first and utilize its very high damage to just absolutely mangle the Thresh very early on. It doesn't look like LoPro has any interest in that, however. And so he's just going to take the W and want to create space and allow Lod to get as much free, safe farm as he can.
And that's, aside, again, just no lane swaps, no 2v1s, no 3v1s, no weird fun stuff, invades or jungles. It's all by the book. And as you do see, Kha'Zix is going to be that top lane with the Karthus in the mid, so as expected, Gremlin will be rocking that. And, this is the point we brought up off screen, but NY Jackie with the triumphant rise. I mean, he knows how to use that rise all the way back to season 1, I want to say, back when it was just like one of the only mid mages you could do.
Yeah, basically, he's just, he knows what's going on here, and he knew the matchup, and this is why he picked it to do it. He wanted to play this Rise against this Karthus.
And what Jackie wants, he gets. Well, maybe not always, but so far, he's been doing all right in that mid. Ziggs play last time. I didn't really see anything too wrong with it, but I think that the biggest area of improvement that LoLPro could endure would be this bottom lane. So, Caitlyn, Lod, 100% play rate here in the NA Challenger Series number 1. And now with Annie, I don't know, man. I don't really know how I feel about LoPro taking that Annie. It was very hit or miss in the previous matches that he got to play her.
Yeah, we'll see exactly how much work he's able to get done here. It's just going to come down to creating space for Lod to do Lod's thing. Like, he just wants to abuse the 650 range, and the Annie is mostly there with a stun available to try to trade back out if Body Drop ever tries to get aggressive and land a hook or anything like that. LoPro is just going to step forward and just stun up Latman and just try to do what he can to keep that engagement from really snowballing out of control. Bsin going to spend some time out here in the top lane, going to get a little bit of HP off of Haunter, but he's going to end up losing a lot of his time as Heaven Time comes in for the counter gank.
Ooh, I like that Heaven Time coming in just in time. Flash forward from Chunky Fresh, but that's going to be the following up with the Resonating Strike, and does not look like it's going to be anybody in danger of going down, but a lot of hit points and cooldowns being expended from both sides. That's going to be the stun down on top of Body Drop, who's just going to get burned a little bit by Annie. Did get off a headshot, I think, from Lod, but didn't really see the Piltover. So again, just normal trades going back and forth. Taking a look at Heaven Time, he's going to camp out there in the mid, but I don't think he's going to have that opportunity as Lod and LoPro bottom lane, again, just pushing in really aggressively.
So nice counter gank coming up there in the top lane by Heaven Time, getting up there, getting both of the flashes from both the jungler and top laner. That's going to be absolutely colossal for him. It's a little bit difficult. A lot of top laners, it's like, okay, I got their flash now, he's really gankable. Kha'Zix isn't necessarily one of those because he still has the ability to leap out. But nonetheless, do expect to see Heaven Time continue to apply some pressure up in the top lane.
Caitlyn, the Siege Mistress herself, landing a little bit of tower damage there down bottom. Chunky Fresh has to defend it up against Haunter. It's a reverse of fortunes in this top lane, because last round it was Haunter getting pushed in by Chunky Fresh on that Renekton. So there's something about Renekton here, guys, that maybe these guys are trying to tell you. Mid lane's just going back and forth again as well. And in terms of the creeps, a little bit more close, I want to say, in the mid and bot than last round, but Renekton really punishing out that top.
Yeah, this is, you kind of expect this. Renekton is such a strong bully laner very early on. As you see, he finds Bsin trying to look for a gank on him, but isn't going to end up getting anything done as Haunter just chews him up and just walks away.
Chews him up and spits him out, and Vi's like, alright, well, that was a thing. Another stun and a little bit of a burn coming down on top of Body Drop bottom, but the Piltover does not connect. Hit points are a little low, but nothing near a kill range. We got Rise, who thought maybe coming down south, but instead he's just going to head on home instead. 34 creeps to his name, beating out Karthus just a little bit. But again, top is really the top is being pressured here by LoLPro, bottom being pressured here by LoLPro, but Disney Stars are not letting up yet.
Jackie's going to do the Rise thing, which is get an early base so you can get the tier the god is starting to stack up. He did have enough gold to pick up Boots 1 and an additional Sapphire Crystal as well. So he's going. This is a little bit risky of a build, honestly. Karthus Vi is really a lot of damage output, and he has bought nothing that provides him with any extra survivability. He has no additional HP, he has no additional magic resistance. All he has is the biscuits in his inventory to give him a little bit of extra sustain. That combined with a little bit of sustain from his ultimate as well is really all that he's bringing into this lane as far as like sustain, survivability, tankiness, anything like that. So once B-Sin hits level 6, he's going to be able to combo up with Gremlin. They're going to be able to put a lot of damage down.
It's been a while since I've seen a competitive Rise, and I wouldn't really call what I saw at WCG that competitive, to be honest. But, you know, after you get yourself that tier and it's ready to go, just looking at this engagement, bottom is hit point bars going back and forth. You will, like, transition into, like, Frozen Heart or Frozen Fist, and then after that you would probably finish up the tier. So we'll see where that goes for him, but, you know, until level 6, don't really have to worry too much. You saw the trade top, you saw the trade bottom, and, again, it's just LoLPro being aggressive, and they're just trying to set up something after these guys hit 6 so that they can get something done. And in terms of the gold, you know, they're slightly ahead because of the creep differences, but nothing really huge. As I say, that body drop drops a little bit, but he's going to be okay.
Yeah, it's just low pally taking total domination of the brush. Just being in there, having control of the vision, and whenever Body Drop tries to step forward, he's able to make a lot of work happen here. Oh, this
Chunky Fresh, yeah. As soon as Lee Sin stepped out of that bush and you're right up against that tower, that is going to be it. The Dominus came out for Hansa there as well, just ensuring the kill. So, as I said, just waiting for the level 6, trying to set something up, and Hansa pushing that in with Renekton. I mean, we already saw Chunky Fresh having trouble with the one-on-one. The 2v1 was enough. Gremlin, however, is going to try to go right here on top of Nijaki. B-Sin coming in, doesn't have that 6, so, you know, Jackie seems to be fairly solid by himself without any of those defensive items you were just asking about.
Yeah, he was almost able to pick that kill up because he was able to force the 1v1 and nuke Gremlin down. Gremlin used his exhaust. Nijaki's Ignite was almost enough to actually take them down. Heaven time! He's got the warding trinket, so he was considering trying to go in for the dive on that one, but it would have been an extremely risky play. And now we see LoLPro are having to scramble to defend their own jungle.
B-Sin is getting extremely chased. Look at this. Jackie has no cares. No cares. And yeah, B-Sin is just like, I don't know what to do. This is, yeah, I don't see B-Sin getting out of this at all.
Yeah, and Heaven Time even gets in there just to get the safeguard down and get the extra assist.
Yeah, that's honestly the important part.
Yeah, B-Sin would have been better off just to run into the tower and die very early on. And just deny the assist pool as well. So that ends up going even more in favor of LoLPro. Zera pulling out to a pretty decent early lead here.
See, my first thought when I saw that is that why is Jackie chasing so far into the enemy base? But then I realized, oh, that's his base. Yeah, B-Sin, please. B-Sin, please. LoLPro taking a 2-0 advantage. They're up a K&a-half or so. Gremlin's going to get his blue. Did not have B-Sin to help him out, though. But that's all right. He's Karthus. He can take care of himself. And on top of that, we do got Lee Sin just kind of down there in the bot lane, but I don't think anything's going to happen as he's going to be heading home. And look at that. A Catalyst now finished up for Jackie.
Yeah, he's going in. We'll see if he goes for the full Rod of Ages right now. This is... I mean, Jackie's not really having that many difficulties in the lane, and so it's going to be kind of the question of who is going to end up dealing more damage as they hit the later phases of the game. Is Gremlin's Karthus going to outscale Nijaki's Rise, or will Nijaki be able to use the early power he's getting from, you know, having the decent farm in the early game, picking up that one free extra kill right now? Will he be able to make enough work happen off of that to kind of keep Gremlin's Karthus down for a longer period of time?
Well, Karthus did respond from the one tier to another. So, I'm not too sure we actually saw that last time we saw Karthus played out. Did we? Pretty sure it was an early Rod of Ages when last time we saw Karthus in the series.
That's one of the more common builds for Karthus here, but the tier is honestly pretty good on him as well. He's able to really efficiently stack up the Seraph's Embrace, and it opens up his build path a lot because of how relatively cheap that ability power is once you're able to kind of pick it up and scale it up. And you don't necessarily have to worry so much about how much HP you have, how much mana you have, when you can buy other items like Zanya's Hourglass, stuff like that, or just really aggressive Void Staffs, things like that, to just kind of get scaling into the mid game a little bit quicker. So we'll see how this ends up going for Gremlin. A lot of this depends on the mid game and how many objectives and kills he's able to pick up.
Well, speaking of Gremlin, he gets right into the back there. Jackie's going to picking up that kill, but that should be his return. There we go. Heaven Time does drop from that Requiem. Thank you, Karthus passive. But that was a really ballsy gank, I gotta say, from Lee Sin. Getting into the back there, safeguarding to a ward, and then kicking him back into Jackie, and then walking through the ward. I don't think they really anticipated Vi to be there.
No, right, and that's just great timing by B-Sin to be there for the counter gang. And B-Sin, he flashed forward thinking he was going to need to secure the kill, and then was like, oh wait, I'm playing with the Karthus. I'd much rather he get the gold for this since he's going to be losing a lot of farming time right now. I really need him to be the one to pick up this kill. So after flashing forward and getting the attack down and making sure that he had enough damage, he just backed away and let Gremlin pick that kill up.
And if there was any kind of buffs on top of Heaven Time, he does not have them now. 11 minutes in, he might have actually had the red, but he did sweep down through the blue. If you also look at the warding situation on top of the Disney Star jungle, I mean, 3 separate wards in there just looking for those rotations. We do have a dragon at the 11, almost 12-minute mark now being set up here by LoLPro. And Karthus, he's going to be making his way over. We do got the ward going out here from Body Drop with that lantern, but they're not going to be nearly in position, and LoLPro gets a little bit of a cash infusion.
And that's going to be really helpful for them as well. It extends their gold lead to a little over 2,000. So they're having a good time of this in the early game again.
Wow.
It's going to come down to whether or not they can not give away 1,000,000 free kills in the mid game, which
like
is what kind of decided the last game. Disney Stars just started making picks happen and picking up kills all over the map. And that was where it all kind of fell apart for LoLPro. So they need to be more careful with their players ahead in the mid game this time around, and not open themselves up to those kind of I don't want to say throws, but those kinds of massive swings in momentum.
Looking at our 3 different lanes, it's about a 200 to 600 gold difference between any single lane. But 12-minute mark, Hanser picks himself up the Sunfire Cape, but we also have the Bloodthirster on Lod down in the bottom lane. So we haven't seen Lucian go home yet. He's sitting on 3,200, and so there we go. He picks up his Bloodthirster. So despite that being about 60 seconds later, I would say that they got that in and around the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. These two AD carries are, I mean, there's not a whole lot of separation between the two. And Lucian is not going for some of the Lucian builds that we've seen earlier on this weekend. It's not going for the Triforce, Blade of the Ruin King. Just rushing a straight up Bloodthirster first to give him the additional tankiness, to give him the additional lifesteal and the flat raw damage. His Body Drop wants to start this fight.
Yeah, B-Sin goes in. That hook and that box both going to be nullified out, but B-Sin in the back making the kill happen on top of Lod. We've seen this out of Lod before, but Low Pally does get the return kill. Vi does drop. I'm not too sure Low's going to get out of that one, but that trap at the end just stopped Body Drop in place. That's not going to be a hook. So, Lod doing Lod things. Chunky Fresh in the top. Hanser and the Requiem coming down as well. It's not going to be enough nearly for the return, and Chunky Fresh is dead in the water. Very likely his tower to join him momentarily as well. So a lot of action back and forth. There we go. Turret for a kill. And in fact, actually, the kills actually equaled out. So we did not lose this bottom turret. That's the important part, because take a look at Disney Star turret. It has 175 hit points.
Yeah, getting taken down extremely low here. And we see Heaven Time and Haunter are going to try to continue this push.
Ooh, that was a terrible idea, B-Sin. Terrible idea.
He's going to get caught out there. There's just too much damage coming out from Heaven Time and Haunter at this point in the game. They end up getting another tower back, so they end up trading 1-for-1 across the map total. But thus far, it's, the lead is slowly building up for LoLPro. They're slowly getting a little bit more gold. They're picking up that 1 extra kill. They're picking up that 1 additional assist. They're getting that little bit of extra farm that they need. It's at a 3,000 gold gap right now. See, Jackie is just trading so advantageously with Gremlin. Heaven Time is here.
Yeah, Hanser's actually going to go down in the top, as well as Gremlin possibly going down. There we go, right under that tower, but he does take down Jackie for his efforts. Can Chunky Fresh find Heaven Time? The answer is no. Heaven Time's going to juke that one out. Bottom turret is now also dead in the water, so 2 turrets to the 1, and those trades basically still going back and forth. Heaven Time's not done in the mid. Look at this. He's actually going to try to bait B-Sin out a little bit because we do got the ADC and support coming in from the bottom. I think Thresh, however, spotted them out. So B-Sin not exactly having the game of his life, sitting at 1-3-1 and made some interesting maneuvers, but it is sitting right now on Karthus 2-2-0 as kind of the leading star for the Disneys.
And he's already got the Seraph's Embrace done. Like, it is upgraded and fully ready to go. So we'll have a little bit of extra survivability if they continue to try to go for these, like, semi-reckless dives. They're not going to have as easy a time of it as he can give himself a big infusion of extra HP from that shield. Additionally, I'm assuming that Amplifying Tome is the first step in towards getting a Zhonya's Hourglass. So it's just going to be that much more difficult for them to actually pick up the kills on him and shut him down. So Gremlin right now, it looks to me as though he's primarily itemizing survivability, but by doing it in the least expensive way possible, the Rod of Ages just kind of slows down some of the more high-impact items. So he's trying to avoid that build. Of course, the Amplifying Tome could be a lot of other things, so he could go in a different direction. But the Zhonya's just seems to make the most sense to me right now.
Quick correction, that's it's only an Archangel staff, sir. It's not quite stacked up yet.
Is it really? Oh, but I'm still not used to the...
He will get it soon. I mean,
yeah,
like
I'm still not used to the new Archangel
declare
staff.
New world record, like new world record for stacking an Archangel.
Yeah.
He should have it, yeah, but he should have it done like 20 minutes or so. And the Rod of Ages, we did pick that up at 12 minutes for Rise. So he's going to be, maxing that out in around the 22-minute mark. So that'll be very comparable.
Yeah, this is oh, okay. Thankfully they do have a ward in that brush as well. Otherwise, LoPally and Nightjackie would have been able to absolutely burst Gremlin down here. But so far, I mean, LoLPro, this is where LoLPro really need to kind of like just tighten their grip on the game, right? They've been able to take down all of the outer towers, so now they have the additional map control, and they need to try to step in and be the ones to continue applying this pressure. If LoPally gets this stun off, it's going to be huge.
Oh, the box actually hit something this time. He did get out that Annie, and the ace in the hole following that up on top of Gremlin. That's not going to be near enough. Double kill comes out for the Karthus as Chunky Fresh on the top, just going to be rebuffing that. Lod running for his life. Heaven Time also just going to be trying to do some interference. Lod is not going to get out of that one. Gremlin goes on a rampage. Now Heaven Time is looking very poor in his survivability, but it does look like he is going to be able to just outrun that Vi. Chunky Fresh, even with the help of that, that Requiem, they're just going to decide to call it quits and go home.
Chunky Fresh tried to predict where the slice of dice was going to end up going there for Haunter, and Haunter just kind of outplayed him a little bit there with the mind games. Nonetheless, the Dragon is going to end up going here to the side of Disney Stars, and Gremlin picking up so many kills so very quickly is cause for major concern. That's a huge infusion of gold, and they take down the Dragon, and they take down the tower. 2,500 gold now in the pocket for Gremlin. He's going to be well on his way towards picking up his second item.
5-2-0. As I said, he was sitting at 2-2-0. Now 3 more kills on top of that. Weirdly enough, Gremlin has no assists. That's kind of a little strange, especially with a Requiem that can hit every opponent on the map. But 5-2-0, he has solidified every kill that he can. They got the Dragon on top of that. They take a good cash infusion, almost brings it to parity in 7-7. As he said, it's a little scary that they can just turn around those situations as easily as they can. Curious to see what they're actually going to be ending up buying. But yeah, Karthus doing work.
Oh, Jackie in such good position.
Yeah, that was actually really impressive. Chunky Fresh just gets absolutely destroyed. That 3-man, he almost took Jackie with him, down to 600 hit points or so. But you do see the chain vest, so we are going to get a Glacial coming out fairly soon, I reckon.
Yeah, that could be coming out. There are a couple other options as well. He could be potentially just going in for a Guardian Angel if he feels like he needs a good mix of resistances. But the Glacial Shot makes a lot more sense for Rise, just because of the amount of extra damage output he's able to get out with the cooldown reduction from that item. Going in for the Frozen Heart will help out a little bit against both the Kha'Zix and the Lucian and the Vi. Actually, there are 3 really solid right-click champions on this opposing side. Yep. So rushing the Frozen Heart makes a lot of sense. And now that we see the Glacial Shroud, that's definitely what he's going for.
Ace in the hole lands on top of the Latman, but he can just shrug that off with his current lifesteal. We do got the Seraphs now just before the 20-minute mark, so again, that seems a lot more typical to me. If you had a 16-minute mark, woo-hoo, make a YouTube video, rake in those views, man. But yeah, 20 minutes he gets that up. And again, Rod of Ages should be like max in and around the 22, 23 minute mark. And yeah, that seems to be about right looking at the current stats on it. Whoa, that's going to be the Annie ult down here on top of Body Drop, Blaze, and Box. He looks like he might actually stay alive out of this one. The culling not really hitting too much out of it. As Chunky Fresh comes down here and has himself a panda for lunch. But that might be it. We do got Jackie rotating. And same here with the rest of the Disneys, so maybe not.
Nicely played there by Body Drop, not allowing Having Time to get to the other side of him. If Heaven Time had been able to, if for example, he had another ward on his Sightstone and been able to ward jump himself to the other side, he could have kicked Body Drop back out, and that would have been a very dead support. But Body Drop was very, we beat a hasty retreat, was able to keep himself alive on that one, and that's exactly what they need. Now Chunky Fresh wants Haunter.
Yeah, B-Sin was the one to actually start that up. Gremlin now going to come out of here as well, but that is going to be the slice and dice and a dead vibe, but Gremlin again seals another kill, 6-2-0, but because 3 Disney stars are in that top lane, look at this solid push coming out with the Siege Mistress herself, and that is going to be a tower for their efforts.
And Nijaki is, he's kind of almost hitting a critical mass as well. Once he's able to complete the Frozen Heart, he's going to have just an insane amount of mana, and then the cooldown reduction is just going to make him such a powerhouse when he pops that ultimate, getting some decent AoE damage down, and just able to consistently reset the cooldowns of his spells by casting all of his other spells. He could potentially nuke down some of these high priority targets, and that's why Gremlin's build is so good. Because Gremlin can just pop the Zhonya's as soon as Jackie opens up, and then Jackie's just standing in defile damage and can't do anything to him. And then when he does come back out, he's able to continue just kind of unloading everything while he has the cooldowns up. And then Gremlin is able to either exhaust Jackie or throw down the Seraphs that he now has, or do both and just take insanely reduced damage. So I do like the transitions that we're seeing here from Disney Stars so far.
Chunky Fresh takes the opportunity to try to equalize out towers, but they're still 1 behind, still 3 to their name. In terms of the gold, only a grand between him. Jackie is having a little bit of difficulty, so we're going to give him a few moments here to get himself back in order. 9-8 at the 22-minute mark. Last game, what was our game number 1? 28 minutes? 24 minutes? Somewhere in that range. And I got to say, LoLPro is really bringing their A game to this one.
Yeah, this has been pretty solid so far. The last game was surrendered relatively early on in terms of how much of the base they'd really destroyed and how close they were to really finishing the game out. But at that point, Disney Stars had built such a nearly insurmountable lead that the surrender was, I mean, not necessarily too surprising. It was going to take them a while before they could actually finish this up. So this is a very different look from LoLPro. They haven't given that massive number of kills out. You see they're actually ahead even by just 1 kill, but that's still a lot better than being down like the 10 or 13 they were at a similar point in the game last time.
So again, we're just going to give some of these players a few moments to collect themselves. The reconnects will be strong. Something to look at here, a lot of the kills for the Disney Stars are centered around the Karthus. 6-2-0. Does have that Zhonya's now ready to go. In terms of cash, he's well and above everyone by a good solid 800. His second contender is actually that Renekton sitting at 8k under him. But our ADCs, I mean, like Lod, not really showing us huge kill totals in a lot of these games, and I think that really did hold strong up against Complexity Black as well, but he is still very solidly last hitting. The difference, again, between last game and this game is that the Lucian, aka Latman, aka Sivir, that just dominated last round, he's sitting at 0-0-2. So he hasn't really been in on a lot of this action. So, I mean, when it comes to that, if you're not going to give Latman the kills and he can't get the farm, Lod's looking a lot stronger.
Yeah, definitely true. Apparently, we're having a little bit of an issue with players lagging in their connections to the LoL server, so hopefully we'll be able to get this straightened out pretty quickly here.
Game
looking
number
around
2.
To see what there is to see right now. Both supports have completed an early talisman. They just rush straight to that for their teams, and they have the Sightstones as well. So we'll see if their build paths start to diverge from here on out at all. I kind of think a Mikhail's would be a pretty solid pickup for low pally right now, just because if you get slowed by the Karthus, Kha'Zix is going to be able to run in and basically just kill you instantly. So I think being able to keep Lod mobile and not necessarily just like locked down by either the exhaust or the slow or anything like that from the Karthus wall is going to be pretty crucial towards keeping him alive against Chunky Fresh. The other big thing that I'm going to be kind of watching out for is who is able to get the initiations down onto who. Because I feel like with these two team compositions, whoever is able to get the jump is going to have a huge advantage in being able to pick this up, especially if the jump is consisting of LoPro getting like a really good flash tippers down onto 2 or 3 targets. Realistically, though, the longer this game goes, the better it's going to get for Disney Stars because of how many high damage threats they have. Lucian's really strong in the late game. Kha'Zix is really strong in the late game. Karthus has insane damage output in the late game. And Karthus right now is super, super fed.
189 creeps and 6 kills. Yeah, at the 22-minute mark, having not only a full Seraph, but a Zhonya's. That is scary territory when you have to face up against them. Now, you said Jackie was really confident in his abilities, and I gotta say, I can't say anything against Jackie. I think he's a superb player. But Rod of Ages and, Glacial Shroud doesn't quite feel the same at a 22-minute mark than a Seraph's and a Zhonya's.
And so much of that is just Karthus' global pressure, being able to just pop the ultimate and pick kills up across the map. We saw he got 1 kill on the LOD, where Lod basically made it out of a fight, was able to keep himself out, and it was just, Gremlin was like, oh, by the way, you forgot that one last cooldown that's going to end up getting you in the end.
That pressure, man, I mean, sometimes you just gotta learn to deal with it, and Gremlin has been lapping it up. Now, you did mention about 3 different damage sources, and, looking at the Kha'Zix, looking at the Lucian, looking at the Karthus, a lot of big damage items coming out from a lot of them. Like, they're in the works to just get themselves going. Speaking of that, we are going to get this game going. But something that Renekton didn't do this round is a Tiamat. He went straight into the Sunfire, got that at the 12-minute mark, and he got himself a Brutalizer. But past that, it's more health with that Giant Spell. So, the damage side of things for LoLPro is just looking a little lackluster right now.
Yeah, he had to opt for the extra survivability just because of the fact that Kha'Zix, you can't necessarily go very glass cannony against Kha'Zix. He will outburst you, he will outdamage you, and if he's able to start picking up kills, he'll snowball even harder. So he definitely needed to have a much tankier presence up in the top lane. He did still go for the Brutalizer to increase his kill threat and to make him give him a little bit better presence up in that lane. The cooldown reduction, the attack damage, they're all really, really good for him. But beyond that, it's just going to be full tank Renekton for sure.
Full tank Renekton. Dude, you never go full tank, but yeah, Zoolander jokes aside, you see the LoLPro, they're coming up here to this top lane, big pressure on the turret. You saw the ace in the hole go down on top of Chunky Fresh, brings him down to half, but it does look like Disney Stars, they're on top of their game as well. They do come to its defense successfully, and rebuffing the LoLPro for now. Could be a fight here in the jungle, though.
This is getting pretty scary. Annie in the jungle is really strong!
Yeah, she is. Got 2 people there with that Tibbers, and now the rest of everyone coming in. Did you see Body Drop in the back there? Got locked up by the Rise. Chunky Fresh is going to be the one that goes down. Lod takes down Body Drop on top of things. There's the Zhonya's. He might actually take down Jackie, and he will. Will that wreck him get himself a triple? No, Heaven Time lives by the skin of his teeth. Actually, no, he doesn't. He died to the creep. Lod, I think, used out his barrier, but B-Sin with the Flash 4 didn't actually connect with that fist, and now he's gonna have to hightail it out of there because there is a Renekton following up from that Lod. The red buff is not gonna be enough to take him down, but the flash.
Oh man, that was just okay. So LoPro got a really nice Tibbers down, but then there was no follow-up after he picked up the 2 stuns. And then Gremlin, that was exactly what we were talking about. Gremlin just has so many ways to keep himself alive and just rely on his Defile damage to get so much work done for him. It was a little unfortunate for Heaven Time. He thought, oh, I'll just lifesteal off of the white and then it'll be fine. I'll be able to survive this. And then he kind of had some indecision and backed away and didn't continue with it. And then the white ends up picking up the kill because the white does an insane amount of damage. So Heaven Time ended up getting taken down by that one. A little unfortunate for him. But B-Sin, that's the second time in 2 games that we've seen him go for that, charging up the Vault Breaker, then casting it, and then flashing. And he's yet to really make that work out.
Well, I assume it's what a Gragas would do. You belly bounce and then flash and then you land the damage. But that hasn't been happening now for B-Sin. He just kind of avoids all damage because of that. I'm assuming that's the same mentality, though. He's flashing to extend the range of it.
Yep, exactly. And it's also, when you do it in that order, it's much less predictable. He could charge the Vault Breaker and then flash and then use the Vault Breaker, but by by just using the vault breaker first and then trying to flash on top of the target, it's much more difficult to kind of accurately predict where it's going, where it's coming from, and if you need to do something to dodge it. You saw, I mean, obviously LOD had his flash available there, and if Beeson had landed that vault breaker, he might have had some kill potential. But LOD either didn't think he was going to be able to land it even with the flash, or wasn't going to be able to react to it in any case. So it was a nice attempted play there by Beeson, but the mechanics just weren't quite there for him.
We're giving Jackie a few more moments here to get himself situated, and hopefully this won't impact the long term of this game. But, you know, Rito, please, let's all get down and pray. That was a 5-for-3 exchange, believe it or not. We didn't get the ace because just timers at the 24-minute mark, not really that long, about 30 seconds or so, and the fights definitely lasted longer than that. But still, 5-for-3. Renekton came out of that one all right, and so did Lod. He did use out that barrier just to survive through the Requiem. In fact, I was assuming that he was going to drop to the Requiem where it would be Lee Sin living, and it turned out to be exact opposite of that. What exactly aggroed that white? Did you catch it?
Yeah, it was having time trying to use his W combined with Smite to vamp up a little bit of health.
So it's his own fault?
Yeah, he didn't fully commit to it by using additional spells and stuff like that and trying to stick around. Probably because he felt that he needed to vacate the area as quickly as possible. But he ended up not getting enough health back to really counter all the extra damage that the white does by hitting you really freaking hard.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him live and it's like, yay, and then he died and it's like, oh, and then I noticed Lod was still alive. It's like, oh, all right. And then Beeson, unfortunately, did not seal the deal. But still, 5-for-3, that again puts us in the kill lead here for LoLPro. They are maintaining that gold lead, about 2,500. They got that extra tower. In fact, I believe the top tower is very close to going down as well, so that might be a quick objective in the next wind up to a team fight. But Lod, after that kill, I mean, he does have himself the Thirster and the Phantom, over 9,000 gold to his name, but 831 on the Karthus. He's still maintaining the richest summoner, and he's going to come back now with boots. Did he have boots before? I don't think he had boots before.
Who is this?
The Karthus. Like,
the Karthus?
That's what his money bought him. He bought boots.
I think he just had boots once, so I think he just upgraded the boots. He's got another 1,000 gold in the inventory, though. I think at this point he's either going to try to pick up the Void Staff or go straight in for the Rabadon's Death Cap. The Death Cap would arguably be more effective because there is no magic resist right now from the opposing side. But sometimes you can find yourself in a situation where just picking up an early Void Staff is still gold efficient, just because of the way the item stats work out. It's a really, really nice item at all levels of magic resist when you're trying to get through. But if he does just go straight up for the Death Cap right now, and if nobody picks up any magic resist before the next fight, and he is able to finish that, his damage output is going to go absolutely through the roof. That Requiem is going to shred the entirety of LoLPro.
Let's take a quick look at Requiem while we're talking about it. 400 plus 193, and on top of that, he now has 15 Magic Pen on top of another 8 and 6%. So, yeah, I mean that's gonna be a big chunk of your hit points. I mean, Lod by himself has 1,500 hit points, so that's almost a full third of his hit points with that Requiem.
Yeah, kind of scary. Kind of scary. Just that one spell with nothing else. But in either case,
same with Annie. She's not exactly the tankiest either. Heaven Time and Pro Haunter, I mean, not really going to be too worried about it, but you know, Jackie sitting about 2,200, and then Lod and Low or LOH, you know, 1,500 apiece. So yes, I mean Gremlin every 80 seconds or 100 and something seconds, 175 seconds for that Requiem. It's going to be a critical chunk in some of these team fights.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, so now Jackie reconnecting here. Hopefully, be able to keep himself connected to this game. We'll be able to continue on with this one. Unfortunate that we've been having the lag issues here for this tournament, and these additional pauses and stuff like that. It really can kind of take the wind out of the sails of some of these teams.
As KSTV might tell you, welcome to the EU West problems.
Indeed.
A new face here, a new challenge for the North America. I want to say first world problems, but it's really not. So, 19 minutes left on the pause timer. Hopefully we won't run it down, but I have been through that path before. Again, Lod really just last hitting well. He got 2 kills out of that. I believe he was 0-2-2 when we started that, but he picks himself up a solid 2 kills after that team fight. Has a good chunk of cash under his belt as well, 1,600. Jackie, whenever he does reconnect, has over 2 grand to go spend, so he might actually just finish up that tier. His tier is stacked up to 532 of 750, so it's not quite as fast as that Karthus. I mean, can anybody actually beat Karthus to a fully stacked Seraph?
I mean, there are certainly some options there. Sinish probably can do it, particularly if he's able to get an early blue buff. If for whatever reason you decide that you want to go with a tier on a Mumu, which would be really weird, a Mumu could probably beat him to it as well.
Maybe
there are some options. Yeah, just hang out on the fountain until you got it done. I mean, Karthus could hang out on the fountain and just turn his E on and then come back 8 minutes later or something and have his tier fully stacked. That's also possible.
A lot of different options. I don't think I've ever really seen a Seraphs on a Mumu, not in competitive, but it's an interesting option that you do bring forth, sir. I do like it. We also talked about some of the damage outputs of some of these guys just before that team fight, and I was like, Renekton, he's pretty tanky. And then he goes and lives through the entire thing, so there you go.
Whew, alright. I'm trying to look at this, and I'm trying to identify exactly where the big pressure points for these teams are, like who are going to be the really, really high impact players, and what could really kind of turn this back around. If Chunky Fresh is able to find Lod without LOH standing next to him with a stun ready, like, that could very easily be an extremely dead Caitlyn very, very quickly. Honestly, that's pretty much the only major target that he's going to have to go in on, though. He could go on to LoPally as well. But if LoPally burns a full spell rotation and Chunky Fresh isn't able to just instant burst him down, LoPally will be able to get the stun off and maybe even get himself back out, or at least buy enough time for someone else to come kill Chunky Fresh before he gets the reset and jumps himself back out. But he can't really drop the combo onto Heaven Time, pick up that kill. Heaven Time going in for the Randuin's right after picking up the Spirit of the Ancient Golem plus the Sidestone. And he certainly can't do it to Renekton, as Renekton is already... I mean, he's got 1,700 gold in the inventory, so he's 300 gold away from having a Randuin's in addition to a Sunfire Cape. So the number of targets that Chunky Fresh is going to have to go in on is kind of dwindling.
And we saw that, I think, in the LMQ game a little bit earlier, right? Jinte versus Vasily. I mean, as soon as we had a decent enough farm, we just went hunting for the ADC, and it worked a few times. So we could see that strategy being adapted here. I mean, Chunky Fresh, it's sometimes really hard to get away from him. We do know the flash is down on top of Lod, and after that, all you got is cupcakes and nets and really good play. You're going to avoid the cupcakes for sure.
Alright. Alright, so they're working on getting Jackie reconnected here. You guys can probably hear the messages that are coming in. It's basically people just sitting around going, welp, what do we do?
Well, in other news, Canada's doing really well in the Olympics. I mean, half of our time is spent in the snow anyway, so I don't know why we wouldn't, but...
I don't know. I have a hard time getting as excited for the Winter Olympics as I do for the Summer Olympics.
I would agree with that. Yeah, there's definitely a lack of hype, I think, when it comes to snow, rather than like track and field and stuff.
Yeah.
I think part of that is that the athletes have to dress up, right? They go skiing, they have to be in winter parkas, they got snow boots and goggles and toques and mitts. But when it comes to the Summer Olympics, it's like everyone slims down, everyone's so buff and awesome to look at, and you're like, yeah, Olympics, woo, humanity. Maybe.
All right, Jesse, you're not supposed to be objectifying them, okay? They are athletes at the very tops of their fields. They're not just pretty objects for you to look at. And I find your attitude to be extremely disrespectful towards all of our young men and women who are competing at the Olympic level.
Right. Well, my dad can beat up your dad, so.
I'm totally disappointed.
I mean, I think that's just part of the hype, though. I mean, coming into the winter, just like, yay, we watch people jump off stuff, or they go long distance and ski, and you just don't really get to see the athlete. You just get to see the figure of the athlete. Whereas summer, it's just like everyone's out having a good time. It's pool parties, it's barbecues, it's patios, it's going out to the bar and having a good time in your shorts and t-shirt, and can't quite do that in the winter in majority of the parts of Canada.
Oh man. All right. Well.
Yep, this is what we do when we run out of league talk.
Kind of running out of things to really even talk about. Did you catch any of the NALCS earlier today, Jester?
Fortunately, I did not. I had other obligations.
I was kind of in and out as well, but there were definitely some big upsets there. Coast were able to take down TSM. The first game, I'm not sure this is as much of an upset, but EG were able to take down Dignitas. I feel like Dignitas was probably the favorite team coming into that one, although I did not get to see what the fan vote was beforehand. But yeah, it's been an interesting time here. I've got to go back and watch. Being a big CLG fan, I did not catch the CLG game today, so I need to go back and see exactly what's going on there.
Coast won against TSM.
Coast beat TSM.
I don't want to say that's surprising. I just kind of never.
Well, you can say
if I had.
It's okay.
Well, if I had to call that, I would
a fair
say TSM.
assessment.
I mean, Jurg's in there, the Jurger King, is just doing amazing work, and now they got Knight and you, and I've always been a fan of Dyrus. Doesn't say much, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's just Team Socialmedia have been playing really, really well this split. They've been basically dominating the scene. So for them to lose to Coast, which I'm not sure what place they were in coming into the match, but I know they were definitely considered to be one of the bottom teams in the league right now. So that was it's a bit of an upset. It's actually a pretty big upset, and good on Coast for being able to make that happen. There was actually kind of a touching moment where Alex Penn came like sprinting out to hug his team. He was so excited for them. That was such a huge win. So that was pretty heartwarming. I definitely recommend looking for that. I'm sure people are going to YouTube/Reddit it pretty quickly.
Alex Penn. That's not. I got the idea of Alex Each when you said Alex Penn. Is like, when did he join Coast? So, yeah, Alex Penn. Okay, now I figured it out.
Oh man.
Well, he's what, the coach/analyst, I think, of Coast? But
yes.
If I had to say bottom two, like I don't really pay as much attention as I should, but if I had to say bottom two, I've seen things about Coast. I've seen things about XDG also falling through the rankings.
XDG have definitely been struggling this split with the recent announcement of Bloodwater. Let's just, for avoiding all of the storytelling that's been going on here for right now, let's just say Bloodwater no longer being with the team and Nick Wu trying out this week. They've had a bit of a roller coaster ride. It's been kind of up and down for them of late, and it's a team that has historically done so well in the LCS, particularly in the playoffs. I mean, we saw they eliminated CLG in the spring split, and then in the summer split they ended up taking third place. I believe that was 2 third-place finishes for them in a row. They're just consistently really, really strong in their showings, and this split we've yet to really see that, as everyone's rejoined and everyone's readying up.
Quick, go before he lags. There we go. We're not going to resume here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for sticking with us. And I did ask our producer what he wanted us to do, but he was quiet. So you got to hear us ramble, and we love you for it.
Rambling always super fun. All right, so with the last 15 minutes to stand around and strategize, I expect both these teams to have all sorts of elite strats up their sleeves. I did not look over at the Chaos stream during this, so I do not know if they have some sort of block for the map when they're going on here. So I do not know if these teams. What's that?
They don't, but I mean.
They don't. Okay.
Disney Stars was just about to respawn, so.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that both these teams know the placement of every single ward on the map right now. I would like to think that that's not going to be the case, but it is certainly a possibility, and we'll just we'll have to see how the map control goes from here.
I have confidence that we respect the rules in League of Legends. I have confidence, sir. But either way, Dragon is going to go the way to LoLPro, so they did take that 15 minutes to come out with their first kick-ass strategy of kill the dragon. I think it's a really good one, to be honest. Going back and forth. Yep. That being said, I mean, Gremlin back to his lane. Just going to be trying to farm up. He is ahead of Jackie in the CS, but Chunky Fresh does not get away out of that one. Heaven Time with that resonating strike. Just going to follow him right through the trees. That had to hurt Heaven Time, but he got the kill for it, so all worth.
Absolutely, yeah. Really nicely timed there. Being able to land the Sonic Wave and then being patient with the resonating strike. Now Jackie going to get hooked out, and there's the box.
Yeah, the box actually landing 2 shots there. Cullen comes out, just absolutely destroys Tibbers. Ace in the hole. is the response here from Laud. Laud was able to pick up that kill, sitting nice at 3-2-2 now. And yeah, both teams just kind of chomping at the bit to get this game done. 16-11 for the LoLPro. They're up now 4,000 gold and laying siege to not only the top, but the mid. Again, top not really that healthy, and now this mid is not going to be there for much longer either.
And this is the big strength that LOD is bringing to the team by playing the Caitlyn, is whenever they have an opportunity, it's very safe for him to just kind of nuke down towers. He's able to just stand at 650 range. He can throw down traps. He can use the nets to get himself away from that one. And they just completely mow down as many of these buildings as they can.
And that's exactly what they did. Top goes down, mid goes down, more global gold for the team. A 6,000 or so lead now being developed here from LoLPro. 6 towers to 3, 16-11. In terms of dragons, I want to say it's 2-1 for the LoLPro as well. And you can see some big items now coming forth. Laud's going to go home with 2K and probably going to finish up that Last Whisper. I want to say Last Whisper. There it is. Bloodthirster, Last Whisper, and Phantom at the 27-minute mark. So he's in phenomenal form.
Yeah, he's having a good time with this one. A significantly better time than he did in the last game. And interestingly enough, he's got the Bloodthirster and an additional Vamp Scepter. So it looks like he's going to be stacking the Bloodthirster up probably with a Blade of the Ruin King, or could, I suppose, even potentially just be grabbing a second Bloodthirster, which should be very interesting to say the least.
No, Jackie, come back to us. But I think long are gone. Yeah, gone. Yeah. You can't really stack the Thirster much these days. Don't see that happening really anymore.
Yeah, it's not a very common build. But even then, it's also not particularly common to see Blade of the Ruin King combined with a Bloodthirster. The only reason I can really think of for him having it is to kind of counter some of the assassination potential that's going to be coming in with Vi and Kha'Zix. You use the Blade of the Ruin King active, you get a little bit of your health kind of burst back, and you also apply the slow to whichever target is trying to dive you down. And it gives you a little bit of extra time to create more space and try to keep yourself as alive as possible.
Gremlin, if you are listening, what happens is when the pause timer runs out and hits 0, you just can't pause anymore. You just have to play the game. That's if you're listening, which I know you're not. So,
exactly. For those of you watching at home who cannot see the chat, so you don't even know that he asked the question, but he did. We promise.
I believe at the 5-minute mark it goes yellow, and then at the 1-minute mark it goes red. I've only done this once, so we'll find out what happens. Hopefully, one of our admins in actual LoL can message these guys and tell them that they have to play it through. That you just can't agree to a remake. That's not in our rules. So hopefully that won't happen. But yes, Rito, please. The servers are under attack again, I suppose.
Such attack. Many internet service providers weeping. OP.
Yeah, multiple parties actually being affected this time, not just Jackie. And this is a little distraught, I would say, for LoLPro, because not only did they get that 5-man kill, that delayed ace, they were able to sweep that up with a dragon, another kill, and 2 towers. Like, they want to ride this momentum, and it's really hard to get back into it after a delayed pause. I mean, your adrenaline is down, your mindset is a little bit blurry, maybe your mind wandered, you watched YouTube videos, like, you get a little bit unfocused after delays like this. So hopefully our teams can stick it together, and we'll see a conclusion sometime soon.
Alright, so teams, I kind of expect people to play it a little bit safe while they kind of just test out to see what their ping is like, what their connection to the server is really like. Then they might look to play a little bit more aggressively after they have a couple minutes to kind of get their legs back under them. And that Jackie, is interestingly enough, has not prioritized picking up the early Frozen Heart, despite how much right click is on this opposing side. He just went in for the Banshee's Melt next to try to shut down both some of the Karthus damage and the Vi initiation here. LoLPro getting really aggressive with this Baron call.
Well, you got to do something, but that's going to be the Talisman. That's going to be the Annie on top of it. Gremlin gets absolutely destroyed. He is going to get off that Requiem, and B-Sin takes down Heaven Time. A lot of low hit points here from LoLPro, but I don't think that Disney Star is actually going to try to contest this anymore. With Gremlin out, I mean, he has majority of the kills, majority of their damage, and as we see, a lot of people are just running away from the LoLPro. So they might not have gotten that Baron, but after you take out Gremlin like that, it's just, you cut off the head of the snake and the rest dies kind of metaphor.
Yeah, they were hoping. I don't think they were as much hoping to actually take down a Baron as they just wanted to be able to turn around and pick up an advantageous fight. It was a little unfortunate for them that Heaven Time ended up going down because they got such a clean pick on Gremlin and they wanted to pick up more, knowing that they'd taken out one of the big damage threats. But one of the issues with Karthus is that he's a champion that even if you kill him very early on in a fight like that, like look at Gremlin's cooldowns right now. He has Exhaust, he has Flash, he has his Zhonya's, and he has his Seraphs. He had no time to do anything because they just nuked him down immediately. And even with that being the case, he gets enough damage off during his Death Defied plus the Requiem that he's able to keep that not being a complete rout for his team and ends up trading 1-for-1. The big issue Gremlin faces right now is that Requiem has an extremely long cooldown, and that combined with the fact that Latman is in the bottom lane, I think this is a much more serious attempt on the Baron here from LoLPro.
Yeah, they did see Lucian out there farming. He's actually still in base. Baron is going to drop. It was Caitlyn that picked it up. Beeson went in for the steal, gets off the assault and battery on top of Lod, but that's not going to be near enough. Kha'Zix does trade it out as Vi does drop. Lod in the back. Chunky Fresh can't get the kill. What a Dragon's Kick coming out of Heaven Time, and that is not going to be good as Latman finally comes into the scene. He does get the shutdown spree on top of Lod. Good flash. But unfortunately, he's not going to be fighting anytime soon. And if they actually chase him out, then that's going to be a net... well, that's not going to be any kind of base damage here from LoLPro. And it does not look like they're really interested in shoving down for a turret.
And this is like a really difficult situation here for LoLPro, honestly. If they don't keep Caitlyn alive, they have next to no pushing tower. Right, it's a full tank build Lee Sin, a nearly full tank build Renekton, and Ryze, who is mathematically just about one of the worst tower pushers in the game because of the fact that he doesn't build ability power really, and he doesn't build attack damage. And those are the two things that determine how hard you hit towers. So if they don't keep Caitlyn alive, no matter how hard they win the fights, they're going to have a really tough time taking down buildings afterwards.
Well, Dragon is going to be next up on the menu, and at least they have enough damage to take that down. It was noticed there by Body Drop. Unfortunately, nothing really will come of it. And we do got the Baron on a few of the surviving team members here from LoLPro, but if I had to categorize this game, it's Team DPS versus Team Tank. Like 3, possible 4 if you look at Annie. I'm not really sure. Maybe a semi, so 3.5. Tanks for their team, but they're winning these fights and they're winning these trades.
Alright, so just trying to continue to get the farm going on here. Beeson is yet to actually complete his first big ticket defensive item, which is going to be pretty huge for him. Actually picking up the random Zoma is going to help out so much when he goes in for those initiations, being able to get the additional slowdown. Jackie is also still in the process of scaling up. He almost has enough gold for the Frozen Heart if that's what he wants to pick up next. And I think it would be a really, really smart pickup for him if he does decide to go for that.
That tier is also now fully stacked there for Jackie. So he can go for the Seraphs, he can go for the Hearts. We used to see Frozen Fists. Back when the blue build was a popular thing to do. Frozen Fist on the rise. A little bit of extra damage. We do catch Heaven Time there with the hook, but he's manly enough that he can just shrug it off. And now we got the Siege settling in here in the bot lane.
I remember there was a time when Ryze had even worse ability power scalings, that people would actually build Mana Muna on him because the AD you would get from the item would be more effective, and you would be able to proc it on all of your single target spells anyway.
Could
so
still go that
way. More damage. Could potentially still, yeah, that's possible.
Well, that was a great wall into the hook. The culling comes out as well, but not before Tibbers drops, and he's going to drop right with her. Haunster, a little bit low hit points there in the back, but I think it was a 2-for-1 trade for the Disney Stars. No, 1-for-1 trade. I do apologize. Low for Beeson. Haunter did get low, but again, like Lod in the back, ready to go with that damage. 3 tanks to keep him safe. So we're going to have to see Gremlin comes in with those home guard, but does not get into any kind of range, and Lod just takes out the inhibitor and the tower.
Absolutely, yeah. This is great play by LoLPro, utilizing their Baron to their best that they can, being able to force these engagements out and just going for the full siege mode. They've got the Caitlyn, they've got the Baron buff. They know they can make this happen as long as they don't allow Beeson to really get like that perfect ultimate off. That time Beeson went in with his ultimate, but at that point he'd already lost so much health he just died immediately thereafter. Another big thing to point out, sorry, is that Gremlin didn't have an opportunity to really use his ultimate in that fight. It either wasn't on cooldown or he never had an opportunity where he felt safe that he could get it off without being stunned, and it would actually be effective. So if they continue to have fights where Gremlin isn't popping the Requiem, isn't getting that massive AoE damage down onto every member of the opposing side, I have a really hard time seeing Team Disney Stars coming out ahead.
You also see now the trend is for the LoLPro is all three of our tanks are rocking the Banshee's Veil.
Alright, okay, guys, well, we're down to our last 9 minutes of pause. So hopefully Nijaki will... It seems like every time Nijaki takes the blue buff, he's not allowed to move. And like, I don't know if it's like what is going on that's making this happen every single time I see him over near the blue buff area. But he picks it up and then he can't walk away from it. So this is a little depressing.
New York Jackie with that New York internet, man. 23-15 though for the LoLPro. That was some very convincing fights. But again, like we see double Randuins to lock down a lot of those right clicks. We see the Glacial on top of Rise to again lock down right clicks, and now triple Banshees just to try to keep people a little bit safer. And hey, who knows, at the end of the fight, maybe it'll come back in time to block a heavy-handed Requiem. And looking at that Requiem, looking Gremlin, 780 damage. 780. No, 760. Either way, ridiculous damage coming out of it.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying when it comes down to it. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it except for have your Banshee's Veil be off cooldown. That's pretty much it. There are 3 Banshee's Veils already picked up here for the side of LoLPro, and this is as much to keep the Vi from being able to just jump in and initiate on you instantly, as it is to provide the extra HP and magic resistance to be able to deal with Gremlin's damage output. I almost expect to see 5 Banshee's Veils before this game is all said and done.
Could you even fit a Banshee Veil on top of Lod?
Actually, no, not since he's gone with both the Bloodthirster and the Blade of the Ruin King. He has no space for a defensive item right now.
Yeah, there's an Infinity Edge on the back of that as well.
Yep.
Hello, Chunky Fresh. Goodbye, Chunky Fresh. No, I take that back. He actually says, nope, he's down. Heavy Time is able to clean that one up. A little bit underhanded. Beastin drops down that one as well. There's the Zonia's Gremlin just trying to stay alive, do the damage. Great hook from Body Drop as he's going to just catch the Lee Sin, but the Lantern out on the card that's almost taking down Jackie and Hanser and Low Pally. It's really only now Lod with the hit points, but Latman, he tried to do the chasing, but Latman will drop to the red, and now Body Drop as well. So looking to be a strong finish here for LoLPro, and they might actually even bring our series to Game 3, which would be the first time in their history of the NA Challenger Series #1.
Yeah, they're gonna be able to take this one down. As you see, Lod is just jumping back in on this one. They already had the bottom inhibitor down, so they didn't need to force the engagement. They didn't need to rush. They just wanted to take as much time as they could and just be very careful with their positioning. They did a great job with that one. LOD was protected, and you see we didn't end up with that issue where they win a team fight and then they can't push in that kind of like lame duck situation where they don't have any good right click threat. Nicely played here by LoLPro through all the disconnects and everything. They managed to keep their